The first one I want to go through is Tim Ralston, I believe his name was, from Doomsday Preppers. And like I said earlier, this may be the show that did the biggest disservice to preppers and started getting people to think about preppers as just batshit crazy, because the show starts off with this dude that shoots his thumb off, and we're going to go through that too.
Dude,
and then it goes
spoiled it, man.
Well, this is one of the most, it's one that did the most harm to preppers, and it's also one of the most memorable. Anybody that has seen Doomsday Preppers knows this part. But it starts off with him shooting his thumb off, and then you've got Jason, who, after you start the show with this sort of type thing, then you've got Jason with his gas mask and his air tanks walking through New York City, in the middle of the night, which seems a little bit weird. But when you think about it, this was only a few years after 9/11, and you're talking about New York City, so how weird is that really? And then you've got, the other dude that we're going to talk about today, lighting his booze bottles on fire. So this one just did a whole lot of harm to preppers, and I think that it gave or it reinforced that stigma of crazy ass preppers, I think.
Well, I think too with Schlepp there shooting his thumb off, since you let that one out of the bag already. Maybe everybody knows it, but with him shooting his thumb off, that's like the thing they're waiting for, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, this is a production company, National Geographic. I don't imagine they're the most non-pro media types out there. So, I mean, they're waiting for something like that. They just got to show a guy with a gun blow his thumb off, and that accomplishes so much objectives. It's just like,
Yeah, they're not concerned with, how is this going to make preppers look? They're concerned with ratings and, hey, this is maybe they're not saying it while they're there. And I guess we'll start with that clip. Maybe they're not saying it while they're there, but the cameramen and the producers are going, this is gold. I can't believe this just happened. Sweet. Let me play this clip though, since we're talking about all this stuff.
What happened? Whew. What happened?
Damn thing just misfired on it.
Get a truck up and ready. He's got to go to the hospital.
Yeah, okay.
Tim?
Tim, look at me.
Tim?
When I first saw the wound, I truly thought he was going to lose his thumb. His thumb, right between the two knuckles, had a wound to it. It channeled out the middle, essentially.
Still connected, or you blew
Yeah, it's still connected.
When it happened, instantly, all I did was thank God it wasn't my son. It was one of those malfunctions. My thumb went in front of the barrel, and it went off.
All right, I did get a little bit of the picture at the end of what it was, but it's pretty gnarly.
Dude.
Go ahead.
This guy's, it was a misfire. It was a malfunction. Yeah, it was a malfunction of his fucking brain.
Yeah.
And he went and put his thumb in front of the barrel of a gun and pulled. That violates all the rules of firearm safety, and firearm safety rules are like pretty good rules to have, man.
Yeah.
Rule number one, and this comes from Jeff Cooper, the father of a lot of the modern gun stuff, the creator of Cooper's Colors and all that. Rule number one, all guns are always loaded. Okay, well, if you treat it like that, don't put your hand in front of the fucking barrel. Never let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. That's rule number two. Rule number three, keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. And rule number four is identify your target and what is behind it. Every one of those rules he broke.
Yeah.
And ended up shooting his thumb off. And the scary part is, like, lucky that round didn't go and hit somebody, or maybe he wasn't pointing the gun in their direction, but that guy obviously has. I mean, that's where we run into the responsibility, I think, with the Second Amendment, right? People need to be responsible, know what the fuck they're doing when they go out there. You can kill yourself. Yeah. I mean, that guy's preparedness forever is screwed now. I mean, it's your thumbs. Yeah. I look at my dog and I'm like, why aren't you smart? You don't got thumbs, buddy.
Yeah.
And so he is permanently screwed. And it's from not, he's not accepting responsibility that, hey, maybe I should get better with this gun. And before that clip you had, he mentioned something when he gets out there. He goes, yeah, I really like this because it's not like one of those regulated ranges. Yeah. And I get that. And at the same time, hey, clown, maybe he needs a regulated range. Maybe he needs to get a firearms class. And I'll tell everybody out there, please take the Second Amendment seriously and your responsibility seriously to not have an accident with a firearm, or not a malfunction kind of thing is what his term was, but to not have a problem with the firearm by an unsafe thing. Go take training.
Yeah.
And be very deliberate whenever you're handling that firearm. I mean, it's unforgiving. I thank goodness we have the Second Amendment in firearms. I'm a very avid firearm owner. And it's a deadly weapon. It's like it's like a car driving down the road at 65 miles an hour. You think about that. We drive every day on 2-lane roads, 4-lane roads with a stripe between us, 8 inches away from somebody else, man. But it's a deadly thing. And so please take it seriously.
Yeah.
That guy is just a bozo.
When I was watching this, I'm sitting there trying to figure out how exactly this happened. How exactly do you get your thumb? He's firing a carbine, so it's not like it's a handgun or anything. So it had to have been some sort of jam or something. And, I've got this ammo can that I've got behind me. It's full of reloads, 40 caliber reloads that I got from my dad.
Right.
And every 10th one of them misfires on me or jams. It doesn't work. So I don't even use them. I just don't like taking them to the range, because as soon as something like that happens, it's almost like you got a live hand grenade in your hand. That's the way my stress level goes up. It's like, oh shit, I got to get this out, get this cleared. And so for him to, I just don't see, other than human error, I don't see how it's possible with a carbine to get your thumb in front of that barrel. I mean, I just don't get it.
I mean, I think too, you have to factor in, do I think this guy's a knucklehead? 100%. And I think there's also, he's playing for the cameras, maybe. I mean, before earlier in the show. So this guy's, and we're going to talk about here, he's working on inventing this shovel, it's a multi-purpose shovel. It's a hammer, it's a shovel, it's a whatever he had. And so they have a piece of it where he cuts a pig in half with this thing, a dead pig.
Yeah, I'll play that real quick.
He jumps out there and he cuts it in half, but he never, he doesn't let his buddies do it. Doesn't let his buddies cut it in half and see how it works. He's kind of a blue falcon. That's short for in the military for buddy fucker. And so I don't know if he's trying to ham it up for the cameras or what he's doing, but he's just, man, he needs to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that kind of got me about him as well is, and kudos to, making money off preparedness. That's fantastic. Creating these tools and all that stuff, do that. That's great. But, I just got this vibe, this used car salesman vibe from him. And that, it's pretty frustrating. That was the part with him chopping up the pig right there. Or no, this is the part coming up
right here.
Yeah. Where he's chopping up the pig. And the thing, the Croval or whatever it's called, thing works fantastic. That's great. The end of this, I want to play what he said, which kind of bugs me a little bit.
Here's the thing about his shovel. Point out a shovel that is a multi-purpose tool like this. And, and hey, that's great. Practice using a shovel to cut a pig in half. I mean, hey, if you've never done it, who knows? Maybe you have to swing a shovel one day to, protect yourself. But I mean, that's good. But the thing is, I've never seen one of these shovels. And it's not saying that somebody won't ever create one. That is like everybody rushes out like, I got to have this thing. It's the best multi-purpose tool. I mean, he has a crowbar and a stick, and it's an edge. As soon as you take that sharpened edge and dig with it, pretty much don't have a shovel anymore. I mean, or that's all you have. It's not the machete you think it is. It's not that a shovel can't hurt somebody, but I think it's a little
just a blunt instrument
overrated
at that point.
I think the whole multi-purpose shovel tool thing that people keep trying to come up is a little overrated on that. I mean, a shovel's a great tool for digging. You can get one of those ones that has the pick on the back, and that's fabulous. If you get like a military e-tool and it has the pick on the back, definitely that's a good combination to have. But all this other shit, and I think it's a little bit too much.
I want to play this part, what he said at the end of this clip, and it kind of bothered me, and I'll play it first, and then I'll...
The tool that you're going to need. If there's is the tool that you're going to need. There's left of them.
Okay.
This is the tool that you're going to need. If there's a end of world scenario, this one will save your life.
That drives me a little bit crazy because, it seems like he's got his preparedness thing all set up and good to go and all that. But
No, he doesn't. He shot his thumb off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to say that the tool, that one tool is going to save your life, you could say that just about anything in preparedness. I mean, but to say that you absolutely have to have that, that's what seemed a little bit used car salesman to me. Somebody that's really into preparedness should be a little bit more honest about stuff like that, that, hey, you know what, this may be a good tool to have. There are situations where something like this could be absolutely beneficial, but it's not the be all end all. And I don't expect him to say that because he's trying to sell them. That's his whole reason for being on the show, I'm sure. But
hey, did you see that little pig knuckle that that he left for his buddy to chop at?
Yeah,
it's like a little 2-ounce piece of pig hanging off the string.
Yeah, everybody, his buddy's just sitting back drinking beer.
Have a try. Like, you didn't have to cut it right in half. Why don't you cut off like the bottom half and let one of your buddies see what it's like to? I mean, that was it. Well, I'm sure maybe they still do them. I don't know, but back in the day, that we used to do live tissue labs at times, and part of the thing at the end of the live tissue lab is after they've killed these animals, right? These animals are all anesthetized. I guess that's the word. They're out. They don't know anything's going on. They've been drugged. And you go through and they wound them, and you practice working on wounds. Now they have mannequins that are animated computerized mannequins that you can train on. But when they used to do that, one of the things after they would kill it, they'd let you do is you could see what it's like to actually cut something with a knife like that. And,
yeah.
So what they're doing there is actually a really good thing. If you've never done it, learn what it's going to feel like. You're one step ahead in your situational awareness, your thought process going into something. You've actually swung and you know what it's like, and most people haven't.
Yeah, and kind of with that, I just pulled up this frame right here. You can see, I don't know how many whacks he is into this, but that thing's almost already done by the time.
Oh, he did a good job on cutting through it. I was pretty
just
I was
keeping
like, wow, that cut through
it
it pretty well, but
yeah,
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, that's cool. And like I said in the beginning of this, they didn't really go through how he's preparing. They went through, and we're going to talk about this next, his bug out route and his shipping containers and all that, but they didn't go through what he's got and this and that. They just kind of talked about his Croval, and then they talked about his shipping container stuff. I hope that for his sake, though, I hope that Croval is a great tool, and that he gets rid of all his guns, and that's what he goes with first. Yeah, stick with
cool.
the knife fighting.
He recognizes his shortcomings, but yeah, they didn't have a whole lot in it. You mentioned the shipping containers. That part I thought, and that was bad because he pushed out information that is not true about burying shipping containers. That, like, you don't want to rely on what this meathead said.
Yeah. Before you get into that, though, I'll let you talk about that because you've actually done a lot of research on the shipping container thing. But this is the blueprint of what he's got set up. This is pretty cool. You've got 3 shipping containers side by side, and then maybe it looks like one in the front that is the entrance or whatever. So on paper, pretty cool. But the fact that, like you were talking about, he's talking about in this going in there, buying these containers and burying them. And that is, something that somebody watching this isn't even going to think about. But these aren't meant to be underground. These are meant to be on top of ships.
In there, what he says, and I went to this guy down in Texas's shipping container conversion course, like, I don't know, last summer. And the shipping container, when you hear him ask the question of the guy, he goes, "Oh, wow, you could stack containers on top, so they're really strong. The edges are really strong.
Yeah,
that the walls give the top support and all that, but the walls aren't load bearing walls. They're not meant to carry a load."
Yeah.
So if you're going to put anything on top of it, that's what the load goes on the edges, where you have all those like 4-inch or 3-inch steel tubes there, and it holds all that. You put the load in the middle on that metal wall, it's going to eventually give way.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a problem, right? So don't bury shipping containers. I've seen people bury them, but they basically made a big open space underground that had a roof over it, a cavern kind of thing. And they buried them that way. So they weren't in contact with any dirt. But don't bury them. It's not what you're supposed to do. At least if you're going to try it, go talk to a structural engineer and have him show you how to reinforce it and draw up plans for it. But don't try to bury a shipping container.
Exactly. And in this show, this dude that was talking to him, the guy that was selling the shipping containers, they made passing mention of it. Yeah, they're like, you can bury these, right? And he's like, with some reinforcement, you can. And that was all they said on it with that. But yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it than just, throwing them in a hole, putting 6 feet of dirt on them. And, the other thing that it was kind of, I'm not quite sure about. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know where it was, but I don't know how EMP proof these shipping containers are. I think that when you put it underground, that gives you a little bit more stability and structure and all that. But there's still holes and seams and stuff like that. So I don't know how EMP proof just a shipping container by itself would be.
Well, and maybe it's better than nothing. I don't know. I don't want to pretend to know anything about EMP shit. But it's everything he said. He was, I think this dude was just making up shit to look good for the show.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously didn't do any research on shipping. You don't have to dig very deep to know that, hey, you probably shouldn't bury them. I mean, we've talked about before. I mean, you hear other people talk about it. So he was going for it. So I don't know how much of it was, him just putting stuff on for the show, maybe, but
trying to sell his Crovel.
They're a great, if you want to have an alternative off-grid place to live, they're great. They sell insulation kits called InsoFast that are actually molded to the inside of it, and you slap it up, basically you can frame it out, and they work really well if you do it right. So they're a great option. I think the problem right now, though, is shipping containers are pretty expensive, man. I think this whole supply shortage, I think it's part of the problem with the supply shortages. They got, I don't know, they don't have enough shipping containers in China now or something like that. They're backed up here, but for whatever reason, they're last I looked, they're pretty expensive right now. So
yeah. So, this reminds me of, it's almost the opposite of a couple shows ago. We did the dude that was out in the middle of Texas or whatever, had basically his castle made out of shipping containers above ground. That was a fantastic idea, I thought. This one is the opposite of that, and it's kind of the opposite of that. It's not such a fantastic idea. So,
well, it was interesting in that one. The guy lived in shipping containers and he shot guns. He didn't shoot his thumb off, and he didn't bury his shipping containers.
Yeah. So I don't know that I need to ask this, but what are your thoughts on this guess? A thumbs up, a thumbs off, or a thumbs down?
He doesn't have a thumb to get. It's nubs up.
Yeah, nubs up, nubs down.
I mean, as far as a what not to do episode, I think it was great. But other than that, this is not the guy I would lobby to have in a preparedness group. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching.
Absolutely. Just as a reminder, you can help us defeat the censors by liking, subscribing, and sharing this or any of our videos. Don't forget to click the link below and visit the website. Over there, you can listen to any of the older podcast episodes and also get on the email list.
And best of all, you can help us give the finger to both the apocalypse and the censors alike.